What a game this was. Offense was not lacking. Ole Miss scores a touchdown on their first 5 possessions, and Georgia, for the most part, is going stride for stride, mixing in a couple field goals instead of just 5 straight touchdowns. And we come out in the second half, and it's just looking like it's more the same. And then what has kind of become the theme of this Georgia's defense is at some point they figure it out, and they start to play well. They close down the stretch really well. The fourth quarter yard discrepancy, Georgia had like 150-something, and Ole Miss had like 10.
13.
Ole Miss had the ball for 1:40 seconds in the fourth quarter. They just got completely shut out down the stretch, and Gunnar Stockton and Georgia kept doing their thing. And so talking about Georgia's defense has just become the team that, like, they do just enough to win you a game. It's almost like they know going into the game. It's like, okay, we can give up 30 points and win this game. Oh, okay, the offense is going to have a tougher time tonight. We can only give up 15, but we'll go win this game. And it's similar for Gunnar Stockton, who actually had a fantastic day. He was phenomenal. It's kind of like he goes, okay, like, how well do I need to play today to win this game? Like, what all do they need me to do? Oh, you need me to hit this throw? Yeah, I can do that. You need me to make this run? Yeah, I can do that. It's like, you need me to make this play? Yeah, I can do that. It's pretty impressive, honestly, and I think it speaks a lot to the championship DNA still being there.
Yeah, he is electric. He can make all the throws he needs to. He's a gunslinger, so he doesn't throw the ball with touch a ton, which still is what makes that throw against Tennessee one of the greatest throws I've ever seen, considering the kind of quarterback he is to put the kind of touch on that ball to London Humphreys for the win, or to force overtime, I should say. That was incredible. But I really loved how he approached scrambling in this game. When he ran effectively because he just picked the right moments. When he knew everything was covered downfield, he immediately put his head down and said, okay, can I make 3 to 4 yards out of this and keep us ahead of the chains and keep us away from long second and third downs? And they were super effective in that. The school, you could read off stats from this entire game, and every one of them would kind of dumbfound you. The fourth quarter one is a big one. School up north, also known as Old Piss, was 5 for 5 on third down in the first half. In the second half, they were 0 for 4. That was a huge difference in the game. Of course, both teams were electric in the first half. They were 11 for 13 combined on third down in the first half.
Wow.
5 lead changes in the first half. So, question on that is like bad defense or incredible efficiency?
It's both.
I think a little bit of both.
I'd lean more incredible efficiency.
I agree.
I'm going to be honest.
I agree. Trinidad was amazing. And part of that is like he played really, really well, and he made big-time throws. There were a couple throws that just like that's not a throw that every quarterback can make. But also that's what Lane's system is. Lane had a brilliant game plan, and he knows how to take apart defenses. He knows how to make it as easy as possible for his quarterback to make the reads as easy as possible, to keep them ahead of the chains as much as possible. And he did that, and they were incredible. And they had the 5 touchdown drives in a row. And then when it got tight at the end, they just couldn't piece it together again. And that's the indictment on them, is that their defense is not up to par this year, clearly. That was shown in the Arkansas game. Now, Arkansas scored on everybody, but I think that was also still shown in that game, and was clearly shown in this game where, honestly, I feel like you should be able to stop Gunnar Stockton in this offense. Alabama did.
At least some. I mean, they shouldn't march up and down the field.
Agreed. Stockton is not at that point right now where he can just lead. He shouldn't be able to lead, what was it, 7 or 8 scoring drives in a row?
8.
8.
They didn't not score.
8 scoring drives, yeah, in a row. But also not scoring the entire not
I was just
scoring the entire
re-emphasizing
game.
it because it's actually insane
It
that
is.
they didn't. It's just absurd.
It's
Gunnar
just
Stockton, we need you to score on every single drive this game to win. I
did
can
it.
do that.
Also, like, it helped a ton that Georgia, at least it felt like they were just able to control the clock so much more, running for 220 on the ground while Old Piss only runs for 88, and so they're able to keep Old Piss's defense on the field, and then they're tired, and that makes it harder for them to score. That's where, like, that first touchdown for for Ole Miss, I feel like almost of the second half almost hurt them because it was lightning in a bottle, and then it was immediately their defense is right back on the field, even coming out of the break. Like, they were able to get some rest in the break, but they're just immediately thrown out there to start the second half, and it hurt them, clearly. It was a fun game, really fun game. I'm glad that, like, Fowler and Herbstreit were on this call.
It was perfect.
And it makes me feel good about Georgia going forward.
Really?
My SEC championship pick.
Interesting.
As much as Alabama is feeling good for you, I'm sure at this point.
Yeah.
Because I think they still have a card in their deck that they haven't played yet, and that is the dominate you physically in a game. And I called for that to happen in this game, like the Texas game last year, where they just dominate you physically for 4 quarters.
Yeah.
They may not be capable of that, but I think they are. I think Kirby Smart can get that out of them in one game. And they still haven't played that card yet. And what was the biggest question coming to the season? How is Gunnar Stockton going to play offensively? How are they going to be able to run the ball? They run the ball effectively again against another SEC defense, and Gunnar Stockton scores on 8 straight drives.
Yeah.
So they are at least answering that question. And Kirk made it a huge point about it in the broadcast, and it's true. This is now 4 out of the 5 SEC games where they have been down early in these games, yet they continue to fight back. And they've done that now 3 out of those 4 games.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say I feel good. I mean, you gave up 5 straight touchdowns to start the game, and you're traditionally a defensive powerhouse. And the fact that you don't have that right now, and you're kind of having to rely on an offense, it's just a weird feeling to be like, oh yeah, Georgia needs the offense to potentially score 35 a game.
Sure.
I get not feeling great, and obviously you don't want to give it 5 and 5, but it is a Lane Kiffin offense that just
I would throw it to you this
thing.
way. We talked about this with Kansas City and the Chiefs. If the worst part about your team for Kansas City was, okay, we're not getting great quarterback play and offensive play, and you have Patrick Mahomes, I think you're going to feel fine. Eventually you'll get that figured out with the defense playing that well.
Yeah.
For Georgia, for the worst part of their team right now to be, oh, the defense is not playing well, and we have Kirby Smart, I think they'll figure that out eventually in some capacity. I think it's going to be better, and I fully believe they still have that card of a dominate you physically game, and they just have to figure out when they use that. Is that the SEC championship? Is that the Georgia Tech game? That kind of makes a little bit sense right now if you were to ask me. Or is that the Texas game?
We're going to find out.
I just think it's different saying, and I don't want to, I just think it's different to say that about the Chiefs 3 games in as opposed to saying that about Georgia we're 7 games in.
Players are also different too.
The players are also different.
Any given Saturday.
It is any given Saturday, but that normally I feel like, not that any given Saturday hasn't applied to Georgia, but Georgia has been able to physically dominate everyone every week. And so any given Saturday really didn't apply. They had a 30-something straight home game win streak.
How do you feel
the only teams they lost
about Georgia? What is their ceiling for you right now?
Their ceiling is still 11-1 and an SEC championship, but I don't think this game made me feel better about that.
Okay, I would just disagree there.
I think that the ceiling was 11-1 in the regular season, and you go into the SEC championship, and if it's against Alabama, you're probably nervous because the questions about do you have an Alabama problem are very real.
I mean, you could be beating everyone by 50, and you'd go into that game nervous if
Correct.
it was Bama.
I just think that if I'm a Georgia fan or looking at Georgia, I don't like the fact that our defense is bad and we have to rely on offense because that hasn't been a Georgia thing under Kirby Smart, dominant offense. And so I think that I would be nervous that the offense is going to have a bad week against Texas. And then your defense is going to be able to stop. I would just be nervous.
The 3
about
of
that.
us against 11 Texas offensive players could stop them right now.
I would be scared about Mississippi State.
Yeah.
I get what you're
anything.
saying. I think it's just a thing of right now. It's teams are falling left and right, and
Yeah.
you're still winning,
No,
and you're still trucking
100%,
forward to your goal. And
100%.
so you have to love that, and you have to feel good about that right now.
Yeah, it's a great win
And
for
there's
sure.
currently, I feel like there's 3 teams that can say that right now. 4 teams in the SEC, maybe.